Let's get some more international perspective now on Kim Jong Il's death from Rudiger Frank, who's a professor of East Asian economy and society at the University of Vienna. Professor Frank, many thanks for joining us here on RT. Now, the news prompted South Korea and Japan to put their militaries on high alert. How is the leader's death going to affect security in the region, do you think?
Well, that actually depends on how the succession question will actually be resolved. It will indeed work out that Kim Jong-un will take over from his father. We will not see any major change in the security issue. There is another scenario that is a collective leadership, probably under cooperation by Kim Jong-un or without. But in any case, that would lead to a more peaceful solution. Then we have the third scenario that would point at total chaos, no leadership anymore, and then everything is possible.
You mentioned the succession issue as being key to how this situation pans out in the region. And of course, one of Kim Jong-il's sons, we now know, is lined up as successor. How do you see the future of North Korea under his rule?
Well, again, I can only say it is totally unclear whether he will really be able to take over power. He has been announced only 1 year ago. He's very young, he is unexperienced. There are other ambitious people in North Korea. If he would indeed take over, he could probably do so not as another sole single leader, but as part of a group of leading people, usually within the party, which would then move slightly towards the Chinese model, which the Chinese are actually actively promoting.
Well, as you say, Russia and China, they hope to maintain friendly relations with Pyongyang despite the leader's death. They've already said that publicly. Conversely, though, we know the American stance is different, previously considered to be a part of the axis of evil under George W. Bush. We've seen a slight change in direction under Obama, but of course some politicians in the US do say they still consider the Kim dynasty something of a crime family, adding that Kim Jong-un is no exception. Do you think Washington and the EU really are ready to turn a new page with the North?
I don't think Washington or Brussels play any role in the current situation. We can say more about that maybe 5-6 months from now, when the situation has become, hopefully, more stable and more clear in North Korea. Right now, I think the parties that really matter are China as a potential supporter, and also South Korea, because a lot depends on how South Korea will be able to maintain security at the border. And then if Kim Jong-un is a new leader, if he takes over, he might be more reform-oriented. We know so little about him. It's very hard to tell at this point.
And of course, one of the main sticking points in North Korea's relations with the rest of the world is its controversial nuclear program. How do you see this developing now? Do you think we can expect any sort of a change?
Again, that depends on one of those three scenarios. If Kim Jong-un takes over, I think North Korea will continue to play the nuclear card as a bargaining chip in negotiations. If a collective leadership along the Chinese example will be installed, there are chances of actually North Korea giving up its nuclear program because it doesn't need it anymore. And if the third scenario of chaos would become reality, then we might even have to fear that these weapons are used in one way or the other.
Okay, all eyes on North Korea today for sure. Professor Rudiger Frank from the University of Vienna, many thanks for speaking to us here on RT.
Thank you.